Welcome back to the Namra podcast. Today we have a very special episode with myself, Justin, and our good friend John Lapointe of the Lapointe Insurance Agency. We're going to talk a little bit about marketing, bringing visions to life through video, and it's going to be a good episode, so don't want to miss it.
John, thank you so much for being here with us, man.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Thanks for putting up with the hour delay in me getting here.
Torrential rain.
Yeah, traffic and rain. You know, what are you going to do about it? Classic excuse. You guys will never know if I was telling the truth or not, but here we are, and we're doing the podcast anyway.
I think if you live in Rhode Island, you understand the drainage issues here, so I don't think anybody would doubt it.
Definitely. I live in North Smithfield, and they're finally, after years of not doing it, repaving 146 over by the drive-in movie theater, that area.
Oh, yeah.
And they just finished repaving it yesterday, and as I was driving home, I was like, I don't know, they're going to have to do this again, because wherever they repaved was just like massive pooling of water.
They just redid Federal Hill, and on
Same kind of
Atwell's Ave, I was like, there's a big puddle of water, and I was like, that can't be right.
I almost think sometimes they don't design it.
I'm not an urban planner or like
there should be a drain right here.
I'm no asphalt guy, but I'm pretty sure that that's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's not right.
That's Rhode Island for you.
No,
So
don't worry about it. Me and Justin were just playing some Mario Kart while we were, we finished up some work, played a little Mario Kart, so we're good. We got the studio
better
going.
than that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, Justin, do you want to jump into the first thing you wanted to ask John about?
Sure, absolutely. So, John, thank you again for being here. We wanted to really get an idea of, we want to talk about who you are, give people who may not know you, which I think is a rare occurrence because everybody knows Lapointe, who you are, what you guys do, and then I want to also talk a little bit about some of the videos that we make, your vision for it, and then marketing stuff as well. I know Taylor wanted to talk about. So.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So who we are, who I am, I'm John Lapointe. Lapointe Insurance is our agency. We're a family-owned insurance agency. We've been around for a while. My grandfather started the business in the 1960s, which I'm really proud of and glad to be a part of a family business. I think it has. We'll touch on that later, but there's a lot of cool aspects to that, and I take a lot of pride in it. Being an insurance agency, you can go a lot of different routes. There's a lot of different aspects of insurance that you could focus on. When I first started in insurance, my focus was commercial insurance because that's what my dad did, and that's what he thought would be a good opportunity for me. I was kind of like the Fuller brush man, like we were talking about earlier, right? I was knocking on business owners' doors, dropping off business cards, seeing if I could write their business insurance, and
a lot of no's.
It was dealing with a lot of rejection, but learning a lot through the process. And ultimately, through a kind of series of events and connections and meeting a lot of great people, came upon homeowners insurance as a really good opportunity for us. It was a place where we had really strong markets. We had good pricing, so that's instantly attractive, and something that kind of puts us in a position to make sales, and then had the ability to really build a team and a process around doing home insurance better than other agents out there, and also some of the mega companies out there that do home insurance. And most insurance agents, or a lot of insurance agents out there, will tell you that personal insurance, home and auto, can be a tough gig because of the level of competition that's out there with the big name companies, the companies that have billion-dollar marketing budgets to spend on TV and at the ball games and radio, which we don't have the luxury of having. But I think in the last 5 years, we've proven that there's a lot of opportunities there to operate efficiently and to obtain your lead sources and clients in ways that those companies aren't doing or aren't able to do as well. Yeah. And make those personal connections, and at the end of the day, really focus on delivering a good product so that you can put yourself in a position to be successful. And so I took that idea of kind of being good at home insurance and having some opportunity there, and we've run with it, and we keep changing things, and we're going to change things again. But the way we're doing things right now is awesome, and the growth has been really incredible. So, we're a first and foremost home insurance agency, and I would say that's our niche. But we do a lot of different things. We still do, your auto insurance, commercial insurance, and whatnot.
Yeah, and it's a good way to get in. Like the way I kind of explain it to people, because I use you as an example all the time. You can't necessarily compete with $1 billion Geico or Flow in budget. Those are big hammers. But what you can do as a small brokerage is like sharpen the knife, right? So you can be really, really poignant with your message and your strategy. And if you kind of sharpen that marketing message down, you can cut like a razor blade instead of being a big hammer that goes after everyone.
Exactly.
And still be very, very successful and cut out your little niche.
100%. And that's the value for a small business. Niche marketing, I think, is something that everybody should at least be focusing some aspect of their marketing on, some aspect of their business on, and putting more eggs in the basket of what you're really good at and doing more of that, because, it brings a smile to my face whenever a client or a referral source that we work with asks me, do you do car insurance?
Yep.
Because that means that the marketing we're doing is working, because they're just thinking of me for home insurance, but now they're asking.
That's where the
about
sales and marketing come together and meet.
Exactly. So we're going to capture leads through home insurance primarily, and the way we do that is a mix of things. We're staying in front of people with all the great and fun social media stuff we do, and we establish relationships in the real world that we then continue to develop and retain and stay in front of in the digital space. And I think that's a big part of being a successful small business, is that you can't do one without the other. Like if you're just digital marketing, if you do it well enough and your message is clear and you're delivering a good product, like sure you can still do it, but I think to do it really well, you want to mix the two, right? You want your digital presence to be an extension of your real world, presence out there and being in the community and making those connections and shaking hands, and vice versa. One feeds the other.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like you're pretending to be something you're not. Essentially, we've had this conversation a million times. It's be the same person you are online as you are out there at networking events. You can do both.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard on Instagram reel the other day a sound or something that really kind of hit home for me, and I loved it. And I think it's obviously been used multiple times.
I appreciate that you didn't say I read this
Oh.
and then say, well, actually, I heard it on TikTok.
No.
So yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's on. Well, you know how on Reels and TikTok, there's a sound that you can use, and then you can take that sound and you can put it on your own video.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the original one, clearly, because it was just a person talking. But the voiceover was saying that a lot of people in business, a lot of marketers, a lot of people trying to promote themselves on social media are spending a ton of time trying to come up with ideas for content, but the best people are the content.
Yep.
You be the content,
Yep.
and the rest of it will follow. And that's just like what you just said, right? Being yourself. Like if you're just kind of recording who you are, yourself, right? It could be, okay, maybe I'm not an artist, so what I do on social media isn't visually appealing.
Yep.
It's not like you can just set up a camera and watch me paint, but there's still a lot of aspects of what we do, right? There's a question that I just answered on the phone a couple minutes ago that I can now turn around and say, that was a great question. Somebody else probably has that. I'm going to make a video.
Right.
Yeah.
And I got to say, to go off your last point too, I think it's great that you touch on the authenticity part, because the videos that we shoot, like if you and Rick are going back and forth talking about one thing in particular, 5 minutes earlier, I might have heard you on the phone saying the exact same thing, but talking in the same way to the client. So like you said, the authenticity shines both off camera and on camera.
Yeah, I think, and having that conversational tone, I guess is what I refer to it as, is something that really only comes with practice too. It is uncomfortable getting in front of a camera, getting in front of a microphone, and trying to present whatever it is to your audience. And I think a lot of people at first get really hung up on that presentation piece, not realizing that if they're any good at what they're doing, they're already presenting themselves well on a daily basis, right? You go to networking events, do you talk to people? Like, do people call you and do you sell them insurance?
Yeah.
Like, awesome. Handle it the same way. There's a camera in front of you, but like, pretend it's not.
Exactly. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So basically, to kind of recap that, what you guys have done over the past like 4 years is you've pivoted a little bit. You're becoming known for one singular item, and you're lowering the cost of like new client acquisition. And you've done it in a way so that you're positioned to upsell them later. And it's funny because not until probably within a year or so, like you've been building up that book of business, having banner years, putting up numbers, but now you're just starting to consider, okay, we're bringing in all these people for home lines. How can we resell? How can we upsell and do some different things in marketing to, bring in more auto lines, bring in more personal line, whatever it might be, or property and casual. So how are you guys doing that, going from the homeowner's insurance to the business and the auto, and how's that going? What are you guys up to?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's something that for the longest time, I was kind of really afraid of like spending any time on the other stuff because everything was going so well with that focus on the home insurance that now I feel like we're in a position where we can be comfortable knowing that the home insurance business is pretty steady and what we have for a process is really good, so we can start to add in this other stuff. And the ways we're doing it is for one, at the point of sale, we're now making a much more conscious effort to sell that, bundle, let's call it, right up front. But then with our existing book of clients, which has now grown to thousands of people who own homes, and if you own a home, chances are you own a car.
Yep.
We're now going back and retargeting those people in a variety of ways. So we have a bit of like your classic strategy of, we have a list of those clients and somebody in the office is calling them. We're using email marketing. Yep. So we have everybody's emails because we needed your email to send you the application to e-sign the first time. Yep. So we can send you your regular, we use MailChimp, email targeting. We're also in discussions with Sahil on your team to do some cool Facebook and other social media marketing where we can actually target our list of clients and or lookalike lists of clients through social media to try and get them in, get that message in front of them that we offer the car insurance as well. And it's kind of a combination of those things that's really helping us out with that, and also just starting to focus a little bit more of our regular marketing on the car insurance too. We did a series of videos last year, which we probably wouldn't have done 4 years ago, but Rick and I spent half of it talking about car insurance coverages and why car insurance is important. Like, those are things that we just hadn't really focused on. So we're trying to emulate a little bit of the same process that we did with home insurance and bring some of those cool marketing ideas and some of that good content into the car insurance piece as well. Yeah, so we can get that in front of them.
Yeah, and so basically it's like you're going from 100% strategy to an 80-20 more so, or a 90-10 or whatever it might be, where 80 or 90 is on home, and now let's mix in 10 on, car insurance or whatever it might be, which I think is really smart.
Definitely.
One thing that you guys do better than anyone is, I think, video content and cross promotion. So can you talk a little bit about, and I know this is backing up, but talk a little bit about why you kind of bought into the video piece. And when you did buy into video, it wasn't just, let's make a sick like rap video or like a promo.
Let's not go viral.
Like let's not go
viral.
The first videos we did together, right?
Totally.
Talk about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the first video series that I think I did with Taylor was we would, this is a perfect example of what I was saying, how it should be an extension of what you're doing in the real world. And I saw a great opportunity in taking the, networking that I was doing in the real world, right? Going to networking events, stopping by a realtor's office or a closing attorney or a mortgage loan officer and like getting to know them a little bit and like chatting with them, taking that same conversation and turning it into a video.
Yep.
And to me, the selling point was, okay, like this costs you nothing but your time. We're going to promote you on our social media platform.
Free video content. You're going to get to, be on our page, which we have clients, we have people we know, like I have friends and family, like this is just more eyeballs for you. And we're just going to, set up a meeting. It's going to be 10 minutes. We're going to sit down and I'm going to
interview you basically.
And it was, you were selecting those people in your key spheres of influence that you would typically want to be networking with anyways.
Correct.
Property managers, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, closing
100%,
attorneys, right?
Yep, exactly. So it's like, you know, your classic BNI group, I guess,
Yeah.
of, you know, referral sources. But instead of doing it just in the traditional sense, we're taking those conversations and putting them online, giving those referral sources an opportunity to meet more people. And for me, obviously, the end game is that creates a stronger relationship with that referral partner, right?
Totally.
What other insurance agent do you work with? Is, you know, do insurance agents come to your office and just bring you donuts and a business card and say, like, can we, you know, work together? That sounds great, but what if I can promote you on our social media platforms and potentially get more eyeballs on you, get more clients for you, and that's not going to cost you anything. And if you like, if you feel like that went horribly and you don't like me after that, then that's fine. But odds are they're going to be like, oh, this is a cool opportunity. Nobody ever thought of this, doing this with me before. And yeah, like, actually, like, John's good at what he does, and I will refer him business. So
He's trying to help our business.
Yeah.
And how many times do you see, you know, X, Y, and Z, like, you know, they're at the Celtics game one night with this, you know, real estate agent, and then the next night they're at a dinner with another one, and it's like, it's the you're breaking through that pay to play model, so to speak,
for sure,
by providing value.
Yeah,
definitely, it's adding value, right?
Yeah.
I think that was all on the tip of our tongue, but
Yeah.
and that is what we're trying to do, and we can try and do that in a number of different ways. Yeah, it's if you can help somebody else get in front of more people through social media, great. If you're, you know, and I'll walk this back a little bit too, because we talk a lot about marketing, but another thing is that, like, make sure you are, like, good at what you do also. Good at what you, right? You have to, like, walk the
Follow
walk
through.
also, right? So that's a big part of it. Like, no matter how good your marketing is and how, you know, fun your videos are and what a good, you know, promoter of other people you are, is if you're still not, like, doing the best job you can for them, it's at the end of the day,
Product or service stinks.
yeah, right.
Marketing
It's
doesn't
just
matter.
going right, exactly. So that's been a huge piece of it too, and we probably won't touch on that too much today. But it's just, there's a lot of people in our office who aren't front facing as much as maybe me or Rick or Al and the sales guys, but, like, everybody who shows up every day and puts in the work is the reason why any of this stuff actually matters.
Yep, the marketing is kind of the sexy thing that gets talked about all the time. But if the gears aren't spinning right, if everything isn't working right on the back end, it's kind of all for naught, you know. And I think that's good to touch on. So the next thing I wanted to ask you about was when you are breaking through that, like, pay to play model, was there anything you were worried about when you're cross promoting with all these people? Like, I know I run into it all the time where people are nervous to do videos with, you know, one person and then maybe a video with their competitor later. How did you kind of break through that? Was there any bumps? Is that something you can touch on a little bit? Maybe give some advice to people in your industry or other industries as well?
Yeah, sure. So at first, I honestly, I would say when I was first starting out, I didn't have a lot of fear of that. It's always in the back of your mind when you're thinking about the concept of like, ideally, right? Let's say, what my best referral source, the target market for me, the people who are going to send me the most leads, are mortgage lenders. That is pretty much our target market. I mean, real estate agents are a good referral source as well, but mortgage lenders have proven to be the best referral source for us. They don't get to close their loan and get paid unless their client obtains an insurance binder. And so it's really important for them to have a good insurance person. But yeah, at first I was a little concerned that, you know, if I was doing a video and promoting this mortgage lender, maybe this other guy that I work with is going to see that and be jealous that I wasn't reaching out to them to do it. And I kind of just got over that fear pretty quick, because I realized that, you know, it's not really like I'm choosing favorites between one person or the other. I'm not saying, like, that I'm trying to promote this person but not you. Like,
You're opening it up to everyone.
Yeah, like, we can do a video too.
Yeah,
you
what's
know?
your idea?
Exactly.
Let's do something different.
Yeah, what do you want to do that's fun? And so that was kind of the way I handled it, and quickly realized that you know, didn't deserve as much credit as maybe I was giving it in my head at first. You know, it's like, it's not something that I think is worth putting too much stock into, because the people who are potentially the referral sources or the other business people out there who would have something to say about that, or would not want to see you working with somebody else, are probably not the type of person that you would want to work with anyway.
I love that you said
Not
that.
a long,
I love
yeah,
that you said
not a
that,
long
John.
term, not a good medium.
You know what I mean? Like the
strategy.
best relationships that I have are people who are like, honestly, like happy that I'm a good partner for them, that when their client calls, they know the job's going to get done, and that it's going to make their life easier because they know they're working with a professional on the other hand, on the other end of that transaction, that's going to get stuff done. And that's really all it comes down to. And they're happy to see that you're working with other people, and they're happy to see that you have
succeeding.
a big network, and actually they're gonna then reach out to you and say like, hey, let's talk about like, how did you do that? Because I actually want to build a referral network of people, and like, that's
People
just,
who want to keep it collaborative.
that's the right
that's who I wanna
mindset,
work with,
right?
right.
That's the right mindset to go about things. So the person who's like so hung up on this competition is it's just the type of person that's going to be kind of a sour relationship at a certain point.
Yeah, and it goes back. I think one thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but it goes back to also be the fucking best at what you do. 'Cause
Right,
if
yeah.
you are the best, then they like can get a steak dinner bought for them every day of the week, but they're not going to want to refer their business to that guy because
100%.
they're not getting it done like Lapointe Insurance.
Exactly. Yeah, and this comes up too sometimes, because like we do try and add value to our relationships, right? We do, when possible, like to cross promote, and for me, I have done less of these collaborative videos, and more so it's not because I am opposed to it at this point. It's actually that, you know, if we have resources to do these kinds of videos, I want to give that opportunity to somebody newer in the office.
Who spread
has
the love.
who has an opportunity to grow their network more so than I do. Like I don't want to, you know, I'm not in a position where I really need to do that. And also I'm in a position where, I guess, looking back on it, maybe I do have, like, if I started doing this again, like I could fill up every day of the week with referral partner videos. Like I would kind of reach a critical mass. So it's like, and I would want to make that open too. You know, I'd want to be like, if you want to do this video with me, like anybody can do it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'd have 365 days of videos.
Video.
To do.
So
Well,
you have to be particular at some point,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. But for somebody newer who's maybe got 20 connections, like, go out and do it. And out of those 20 connections, maybe 5 people will want to do a video with you, and like definitely use the resources for your video. But
Well, you're transitioning a little bit, right? And it's like you're still using that same model of provide value to the people most important to you.
Yeah.
You know, it's referral partners, and now it's like other people on your team. You want to build them up so that they can be John Lapointe, you know?
yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to, I think, you know, give others the tools to make their own network and grow that. And, you know, we, don't get me wrong, like we still do our fair share of content. And I'm in front of the camera a lot, but it's when there's an opportunity to, take more of that bandwidth and give it to a newer person, I'd rather do that and see them grow.
Which is great to see. I mean, you talked about it earlier, is right? You started off early on in your career, and then you built your way up to now being up in the top ranks, and kind of sending that elevator back down to the people who you can appreciate can work their way up. So it's really good to see.
Definitely. It's fun to watch somebody newer like get that opportunity and go through some of those same things and have questions like we're just talking about right now, like, oh, if I do this video with so-and-so, isn't this person going to get offended? And I'm like, well, you know, if you feel that way, then you know, then don't do it. But if you want to, you know, trust my opinion of it, like, and maybe take a little bit of a risk here, do it. And if that person decides that's a reason they don't want to work with you, like, that wasn't a person you wanted to work with in the first place.
Either way, you're going to grow from the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Eventually that's going to turn out to be.
A lot of times for me anyways, like one phone call, person to person, smooths over a lot of stuff where it's like, all right, you might be salty about this or whatever, but it's like, let's just have a conversation and talk. And it's really not as big as you blow it up into your head. You
Yeah,
know?
definitely. Yeah. So. But I think, you know, at the end of the day, for the most part, people in sales recognize the amount of work that it takes to generate referral sources. And I mean, I have, what I was trying to say earlier, it escaped my mind, but I've had referral sources in the past ask me, like, hey, I've been referring you now for like 6 months, and I realize I've not got a referral from you yet. Yeah. And like, if there's anybody that's looking for a mortgage or looking to buy a house or whatever, let me know. I'd love to work with them. And my answer to that is always the same, and it's maybe more polite than this, but if you're looking for an insurance agent to be your referral source, then you're looking in the wrong place.
Yeah. That's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Like, my job's not to cultivate leads for you. My job's to be the best insurance agent
And sometimes
possible.
It's way better to just set expectations right off the rip.
Right.
It's fine that you asked, but here's the deal. That's not
exactly. Like, I'm just not. Well, I'm not going to be in a position to refer any mortgage lender very often, because 99% of the time when I'm in a transaction for real estate, I'm the last person being called.
Right.
The mortgage is already set up. They've got an accepted offer. They already under agreement. They have an attorney picked out. And somebody just told them they need an insurance binder. Like, I'm the last guy. They already did their inspection. They already have a mover hired. Insurance was the last thing that anybody thought about.
And they should know that. They know that.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that, then that just means I'm just like any other person. I'm just like your friend or your family, like your, I don't know, your uncle. Like, how many people in a given year does your uncle know that's buying a house?
Yep.
Like 2? I don't know.
Yeah.
Fucking A, you think I'm going to refer you? I know 100 lenders, and you've referred me 6 times over the last 6 months.
Right.
No.
Right.
It's just not
reasonable. It's unrealistic, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that comes up a lot, and I always go back to, like, that was your original point, Taylor, is like, be the best at what you do. And that's the reason why people will continue to refer you, right? Mm-hmm. People are going to recognize you, and people are going to remember you, maybe through what you do by marketing, but people are going to continue to work with you because you're good at what you do.
Yep.
And
it's perfect. And that's it's a hell of a lot better than lying or stringing someone along or telling them what they want to hear, because that's not a good long-term strategy.
Yeah, next time I know somebody, I'll definitely let you know.
And it hurts us a lot of times, because I'll have people flat out say, I'll work with you, but just promise me it's going to get me business or whatever. And it's like, I'm not doing it. I won't.
The cardinal rule.
Right. Yeah, because it's not. Right. That's a fiduciary responsibility for me to not say the market's going up or it's gonna work. It's just, I can't do it.
But I can tell you, I'm going to give you a banging video with a banging content package. I can't tell you it's going to get you
I'll tell
dollars.
you all the steps we are going to do. I'll tell you what I can provide, how we're going to do it, what's worked in the past, but I can't promise it, and I can't promise I'm going to pass you a referral. It's just not, and I can sleep easy at night doing that.
Yeah, well, you know what? You guys can, like any of us, we can only do so much, right? If somebody approaches you and says that they want some sort of measurable results up front before, you even go into agreement with them, like, there's so many variables besides doing everything that you guys are supposed to do, which you do, right? You do your jobs and you do it really well. But there's other variables involved. Like, what if, nobody fucking likes that guy? They could have the most awesome video, but everybody sees and they're like, I met that guy once and he was a douche. I'm not going to watch this video.
Yeah. Right.
Actually, I'm going to send this to my friend and be like, look at, it could be the most well-produced, fun video of all time, but they're going to, send it to their buddy and be like, oh, look at this douche.
They're like, why is this blowing up so much? Because everybody's sending it back and forth, calling you a douche.
Right? So if you're not a good person in real life, no matter how good your marketing is, people aren't going to want to watch it. People aren't going to want to support you, and that video is not getting shared one time. But if you're doing the things that you're supposed to do on top of it, and you've spent a lot of time and effort cultivating your network, and people think you're a good person, and people want to see you succeed, and then you come up with some funny idea and you post a video, people are going to eat that shit up, and they're going to be like, wow, this was awesome, and they're going to call you the next day and be like, I got such a kick out of that video. You guys are nuts. That was great. And it's just again, it's an extension of what you're doing in the real world, but it's a way to get people to just remember you and keep that top of mind.
It's a recipe, man. Yeah. There's so many different ingredients into the recipe, but it comes together with the right amount of each ingredient.
Yeah, 100%.
So Justin, what are some things you wanted to talk? I wanted to talk to John a little bit more about video and what goes into what makes a good parody video. How can you bring an idea to life? Talk us through that process, Justin. Do you have a more specific question? I don't know.
Great place to start.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it starts with an idea that you think is funny.
Something that makes you laugh.
Yeah, right. Something that makes you laugh, because if it makes you laugh, chances are it's going to make other like-minded people laugh.
Yep.
And you should always come back to that point.
Doesn't have to make everyone laugh.
Right, right. And always think about that too. Like, don't be, anytime you're thinking about like video content or something, like if you think like how this is coming off and like how would this appear to you, like, you're not going to capture every single person in your marketing and in your daily life, but like if you think that's a good idea, somebody else who's like-minded is probably going to think it's a good idea. And that's, at the end of the day, a lot of what we do in business is that we're connecting with like-minded people and creating those networks. So coming up with an idea that's you think is funny. And a lot of times this is just kind of spur of the moment. I'm trying to think what our first parody video was.
I know what it was. It was Africa.
It won't take long to get you pre-approved. Then you can find a home that's just right for you. I bless all our first-time home buyers. It won't take much time to have your very own
It was
The cover
Africa.
on Africa.
Okay, so yeah.
And we were looking to
That's right.
resonate not with first-time home buyers, but other real estate agents, mortgage brokers, people in that sphere of influence.
Correct. Yes, and that was with Garrett Duffy.
Garrett,
so that was
the
a
mortgage
joint,
musician.
Yep. So that was a joint project.
Yeah.
Project.
Shout out
And
Garrett.
Garrett Duffy had, and he's not doing as many of these music things anymore. But when I first met him,
He got kids and he sold out.
Garrett, I love you if you're listening to this,
he's
buddy.
the best.
I really, Garrett is an awesome,
he's a good
awesome guy.
Yep.
And when I met Garrett was really around the same time that I met Taylor,
Yeah.
because Garrett, I believe, introduced me to. I think he introduced
introduced
us,
all-
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and we kind of both maybe met Garrett at the same time, and then Garrett was like, I'm trying to do these things where it's like an informal networking meeting, but he called it a brain trust, and we just get together and like shoot ideas back and forth and share marketing and business tips and whatnot. And it was actually fun. We were doing them for a little while.
Yeah.
And Garrett had, when I first met him, handed me a CD of his album, which he was part of a band for a while, and that band still exists, but Garrett's not part of it anymore, but he's still buddies with all the guys in that
They were
band. Barefoot Truth.
Barefoot Truth. They have like 1 million spins on Spotify.
100%.
Yeah, they're legit.
It's a really well-known
Truth.
band, and Garrett was ripping the harp, I believe, the harmonica.
The harmonica,
right?
yeah.
the
harmonica.
blues harp. Okay,
The blues harp. Okay, gotcha.
He was ripping the harmonica, and he was singing and part of that band, and when I first met him, he handed me a CD, and I was like, this is really cool. And I think as part of one of those brain trust meetings, we were like, you should do like some music stuff as part of your marketing.
And he was hesitant.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we were like, no, like you should do this. You're a musician, like this would be fun. So
And
we
he had
started
just
doing,
made that switch. He was like, well, I don't want people to get confused. Like, I am a mortgage broker now. I want to be,
Yeah, well, like no, like dude, be the mortgage
lean into
musician.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
like that would be fun. Like a
Lean
lot
into
of
it.
people will think that's fun. And so he started doing it, and he was like, coming up with some ideas for it. And I gave him one of his ideas, which I will say this because I'll toot my own horn here. One of his first real fun videos was Tom Petty's Free Fallin', but changed the words to pre-qualifying, like pre-qualifying somebody for a mortgage. And so he released that video, and like it was a hit. So he kind of like then was coming up with a lot of really fun ideas on his own, and I was like, we should do a collab on one. And we were like just trying to come up with a goofy song to do it. It was the same summer that Weezer had come out with a cover of Africa by Toto that was wildly popular.
The song had a bump.
Yeah, exactly. The song had been, it was still a karaoke hit in bars, but it really got popular again because Weezer came out with it was a very popular cover of the song, which was really well done. And so we came up with an idea to rewrite the lyrics about, first-time home buyers and all this, but yeah, we weren't writing the song for first-time home buyers to enjoy it. We were writing the song for realtors and mortgage lenders to enjoy it because that was the content. It was all kind of an inside joke about the process of home buying and some of the pitfalls and things like that. And then, essentially an inside joke, right? Things
Yeah.
that like-minded individuals
By
would think
happenstance,
about.
it was like perfectly technically proficient from a marketing standpoint because you picked a song that had just gotten like a bump, right, from just current events, and it was already like a karaoke hit for that, 35 to 55-year-old demographic of
Right.
those real estate agents who like love that stuff.
Right, exactly.
So it was just a perfect storm.
Yep. And then on top of it, the video was well done. We were having a lot of fun with it. Like it was goofy and kind of it was zany.
Lighthearted.
Yep. And that video legitimately, and it's still to this day, is the most viral video that we've ever done and been a part of. And I want to say, well, I don't know. I don't even know. I haven't checked it in a long time. But the hit count on Facebook views was
250.
something outrageous.
Yeah, it was over 250,000 views. Yeah.
Might have been three. But
Yeah,
by now, it's
300,000
been a
could be.
couple years. But like,
It just got picked up by
hundreds of
everyone.
thousands of views, and it got shared by like a popular real estate meme page.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, that popular real estate meme page had like hundreds of thousands of real estate followers. So people were sharing it. And I remember checking the next day and being like, holy shit, this video is being shared by realtors in Australia. Like
Yep.
it was
Yeah.
wild, So it became, not a viral video in the sense that like the entire
Internet was
world watched it, but
The
I
right.
would say that the realtor world was watching that video. The real estate
Yeah.
world was absolutely watching that video, and I can tell you with some certainty that like if you were a realtor or a mortgage lender in the New England area, like you were fucking recognizing my face after that.
Yep.
Like, and I was like, damn, that was awesome. And
Yep.
I'm like, Garrett, I'm so sorry. Like everybody who saw this video is like your competition. It's all these other lenders who
Yep.
like now
I wanna do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. But Garrett definitely got a lot of eyeballs on it too, because obviously there was a lot of realtors involved, and we both got a ton of run out of that. It was wildly successful parody video, which then like kind of led us down this path of
Pivot point.
like parody videos are kind of a fun
We were
way
like,
to market yourself, and we always try and toe the line a little bit of what's acceptable parody usage, and we're not doing this we're not like attaching to these videos like a get a quote now or anything like
Or
that.
buy our album.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Or buy
yeah.
our album. Like exactly.
That's the
We're
big
like we're not selling music. We're not we're transforming the use of this, and what we're really just trying to do is get people to laugh. You know, because at the end of the day, like I don't think somebody's gonna watch that video and be like, they look like good insurance agents.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll be like,
goal.
wow, these guys are goofy and they're having a good time. This is kind of a fun video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's all we're doing.
Taking a step back a little bit too, I think you mentioned earlier something that's really important too to mention is that you pick a specific target audience and you go towards that target audience because you're going to create parodies towards your demographic of people you want to.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yep. So that's bringing it back to the original point of what makes a good parody video. You want to come up with an idea that you think is funny. Not all of them are going to hit with everybody, but if you think it's funny, chances are somebody else is going to think it's funny. You want to come up with something that is universally liked within the type of people that you're looking to connect with, and that brings us to who that group of people is. And so for us, it really is, again, those like real estate professionals, realtors, mortgage lenders. And so every video, if you go back and watch our parody videos, it's all going to be some sort of spin on some real estate theme. We had the full house video. We called it Fully Insured House, right? And so it's about houses and home insurance. And then Al did one that
Which
was
is such a stretch, but it worked.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is.
And then we
It
had
looked good on the title.
we had Fresh Prince of Deductibles, which Al did.
Which I gotta say, like the whole thing about insurance is that like in the past and traditionally, insurance commercials are very cheesy, and it's a very cheesy market. So the fact that we're taking really cool spin-offs and creating it, and like it's still
Still
a
cheesy.
little cheesy because that's the whole insurance part, but it's hip, it's fresh, it's modern. So.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And honestly, I really like the cheesy marketing that
Right.
some of the big companies do. Like I have always been a fan of commercials in the sense that like if the commercial makes me laugh, like it's memorable. I think it's good. Like Liberty Mutual, I think does an awesome job with their commercials. Liberty Mutual's commercial, my favorite one ever, and they probably will release it again around Christmas time, is when they're opening up gifts around the Christmas tree, and they have and it's the old school type of video, like the dad is recording it on his camcorder, so you get the nostalgia factor, right, of like the 90s camcorder. Dad's recording you opening your gifts, and the kid opens it up, and they're like, "What'd you get?" And he's like, "I got customized home insurance from Liberty Mutual."
Yeah.
And he's holding up like a big sign that says Liberty Mutual. And then they pan to the brother who's like, "I got a bike." And he kicks his bike. And I'm like, that is so perfect because you know what? Like everybody could immediately go back to that nostalgia, right? Of like the kids opening up the Christmas, and one kid opens it, he's so excited. The other kid hates his gift, he's kicking it. And the fact that they made the great gift, customized home insurance by Liberty Mutual, is like hilarious.
Yeah,
you know?
and the parents are going to get that too. Like it's from a parent's perspective, they want that more than a bike. So it's like, yeah, that's great.
So and that's just a great example. That was like a great ad because you're right. It spanned the generations. There's people our age who are maybe just, need car insurance and they're buying their first house. And there's also the parents who are like, or established and already own their house, but they still see that, and everybody has a connection to it, some sort of affinity to
And it does come back to like you still remember like what the actual product or service they were selling is.
I still
and
remember.
And because the one that I honestly remember from them was like the dude wearing like the overalls, and he's got the fishing pole, and he's like, "I got your dollar."
Gotta be quicker than that.
You gotta be quicker than that. But I have I don't remember what that sale, like what it was about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, which one's better? I don't know. You know? So it's interesting how you do that.
Yeah, 100%. Those are, anyways, cheesy is what insurance companies are definitely up to in the marketing space and the advertising space, because you almost have to. It's like the icebreaker, right?
Yeah.
Like insurance is not fun, and most people's experience with insurance is generally not super pleasant,
And it's not a secret.
Honestly, yeah, right? At the end of the day, like I say this all the time, because one of the big struggles that we have as an insurance agency that represents a lot of companies is we'll typically send out a quote to somebody for an insurance proposal with a certain company, and not very frequently, but I get a good amount of feedback sometimes. Somebody will come back and say, "I looked at the online reviews for this company and they were poor." And my comeback is always really kind of lame, because I'm like, well, they're an insurance company.
Yeah.
Like, check out any insurance company and their reviews are probably poor. And the reason is that
The people
a lot of insurance companies aren't, like, it's really difficult for an insurance company to capture a positive experience review once somebody is already a client. The people who are going to go on and leave a review are somebody who had a claim, and the claim was for some reason messy. Maybe it was the insurance company's fault, maybe it was the client's fault, but that's going to be a small representation of their actual client base, and those people are leaving a nasty review because of some unhappy experience they had. And there's not too much happening with, especially the companies that we work with on the agency side. There's not a lot of positive experience happening on the front end of those transactions with the company themselves that would lead them to leave a review. Those reviews are ending up on our page, where we are selling them the insurance policy, delivering them a really good process, making things easy, explaining to them all of the options there, and giving them, the opportunity to decide what's going to be best for them, and making it a seamless process, and then asking them to leave a review for us, which is going to be a good review. And then if that client has a misfortune of having a claim that maybe didn't turn out exactly the way that they hoped it would, the bad review is probably going to wind up on the insurance company's page, because we're not the one that decides whether or not the claim is paid. The insurance company decides that,
You're in one of those unique industries where it's kind of like property management are the same thing.
Yeah, sure.
The good experiences are only like go so high on the meter, but the bad experiences are very polarized.
Right.
So those people that are incentivized and empowered to leave a review are almost always going to be the negative ones. So the person who, you guys are like the unsung hero, like a baseball umpire or a referee.
Sure.
If they do a great job all friggin' day, no one says a word,
'Cause
and
that's
then maybe
what
you get a
that's what
slap
they
on the ass at the end and be
expect,
like,
right.
nice
That
job.
was expected of you. You
Ex-
did what was expected.
The unsung hero. But then if you do a bad job, people are getting thrown out, the cops are getting called, and it's such a low. But if you do good, it's like, nice job, dude. Good job back there. You
get a
didn't
pat on
suck.
the back,
You
that's
know?
it.
So
Right.
you get none of the real credit if it goes well, all of the blame if it goes bad.
Right,
And that
because-
shows up in Google reviews.
Totally, yeah.
Or
It's
whatever.
like, when is somebody going to, okay, like, what's going to make you as a consumer leave a positive review of your insurance company when you just had a claim that was paid, right? You had, I don't know, like, your toilet backed up and you had, like, fucking sewage in your house, and you had to get that cleaned up, and then you had your house smell like shit for 3 weeks. Like, this happens.
Yep.
People, the house smells like shit for 3 weeks, and then the insurance company shows up 48 hours later, you know, after they first file the claim, and they look at it and they're like, whoa, if it smells like shit. All right, well, let's file this claim for you. Oh, you're going to want to get a cleanup company out here. The insurance company's not going to hire the cleanup company for you. You have to get the cleanup company. You get the people out there, and then, yeah, like a month later, your house doesn't smell like shit anymore, and your floors have been repaired, and the insurance company paid for that.
Great.
What about that makes you want to leave a positive review for your insurance
Right.
company?
Yeah,
Right?
did what they were supposed to.
But they
do,
did their
right.
job,
But you're
right?
still
and
in the
that's
purpose
great.
there,
You're
bare
grateful that you had insurance, and that's awesome. But like, I mean, was any part of that process like wowing you?
Right.
And like, where is the opportunity for the insurance company to make a wowing, experience in that? Like, not much. I mean, right? You know, like, besides like, I don't know, like changing the way insurance companies work, and like,
Yeah,
them
unless you get
sending-
out there with a
like,
wrench,
right?
you're not
the,
getting a
the
5-star
insurance
review.
company
Yeah.
sends a guy with like a fucking mop and a hazmat suit, and like they
Yeah.
start cleaning the shit up themselves.
Right, and he's
like,
a good guy. And then see, I think like to your point, to echo your point, is that it's not about the service that you give it. It is, but it's also more so about the face of the client, how the client experience is.
Yeah.
Totally.
And that's why, from like your point of view, or from our point of view as a marketing company, the only thing that we can do to fight, like, that's a industry norm and an industry marker that we can't change. So what we can change is ask for more 5-star reviews. Just, you have to keep asking,
right,
keep asking,
right.
keep asking,
Outweigh
rack
those,
them up.
right?
You have to get
and I
those.
think that the insurance companies could do a better job of that too, when possible. Like,
Yep.
that's something that an insurance carrier could be doing a better job of, is asking for reviews, you know,
Yep.
or even leaning on their agent partners to help with that cultivation, right? Like, if there's an insurance company that approached me and said, like, we see you guys are doing really well with your Google reviews and your online presence, we're struggling with that aspect, like, can we work on that? You know, I would build into our process whenever we have a client with that company and we're asking them to leave a review of us, I'd be like, all right, leave a review of us, and while you're at it, why don't you leave a nice review for Vermont Mutual?
Yep.
Because they helped you get this great deal, and they're the company that's making all of this possible.
Yep.
Like, that doesn't take much work for me, but like, I'm the person that they know, and while they're already leaving one review, like, what are the chances that some percentage of them are going to leave a nice review for that company too? Like,
Maybe it's 1 out of 10, maybe it's 1 out of 50, but still,
some
you
of those
do it-
people probably
yeah,
are.
Absolutely.
Right, exactly. So, but insurance companies aren't, like, unfortunately, at the leading edge of that
Yeah.
part of marketing.
So to kind of pivot from that,
Yeah.
we make this parody video with Africa, right? And it does extremely well. We're both looking, I remember it being like, oh shit, this, like, we gotta take this seriously now. So it's like, this has to be part of the mix now. And I remember being like, oh fuck, like, we gotta make more. How are we gonna follow this up? You know,
Right.
it's like the one-hit wonder.
Right.
So we started saying like, okay, this has got to be into the mix now. So can you take us through, like, what was that process like? And I mean, I guess I'll ask you this: what did your dad say, and like, what did your grandfather think when he saw those things?
That's a
if
good
they
question.
did, what was that like?
Yeah. So, I mean, my dad thought it was a riot
'Cause
I
it's a
guess,
third-generation business, to kinda say that again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So my dad thought the Africa video was a riot. He thought it was a lot of fun. I don't think he really understood the scope of like how many people were actually watching and stuff. My grandfather might have seen it, but he probably didn't get it. Like, his hearing was never very good
Yeah.
at that time. So like, I don't know. Probably yeah, I don't think he would have been the best
Yeah.
person
Got
to
it.
ask his opinion.
Wrong
of that.
demographic.
But yeah, right, exactly. Like Africa, yeah, right. The song Africa is way
Yeah.
after his. He doesn't.
Right, so-
He doesn't get the song. He's probably having trouble hearing the lyrics.
He's not gonna
He's
get
like-
this
and he's like,
parody of
oh,
the
that's
original."
great, John.
Yeah.
Like, but like he's
Proud of
like,
you.
what
Yeah,
is
good job.
that?
Yeah,
What is
right.
that? So, but my dad thought it was great. He thought it was funny. He was a riot. But yeah, I think the then transition from there was like, all right, well, this is a hit. This is the kind of stuff that's getting people to laugh. Like, we should do some, more of this kind of stuff.
So he was
right?
open to it.
Yeah, right. He was open to it. And he's been open to our, I think, marketing schemes and ideas all along. Like,
Yeah.
he's been pretty good. He's I give him a lot of credit. He's been very open to change and new things and kind of letting the young kids, so to speak, go out and make their ideas happen, while at the same time being, like supportive in every sense of the word. Like, supportive in the sense that, yes, like go out and do this, but supportive also in the, okay, like this is something that we need to fix or whatever it is, right? And generally not on the marketing. There hasn't been anything that he said like, don't do that. We did one video that was like a parody of the SVU trailer. And this was one that was actually like, did it in-house. Dan did a really fun job with it. But the first iteration of it, he put at the end the credits and it said produced by Dick Lee. And my dad was like, come on guys, like you can't say produced by Dick Lee. Dick Lee's the actual producer of SVU. Like you actually, we gotta like change that. So, but like little things like that. But for the most part, he has been super supportive of us.
Since day one. Have there ever been, like, what are some, maybe like, have there been any situations where as like a third generation, like guy in the business, have there ever been stumbling blocks? Have there ever been when you're like, oh, Dad, you don't know what you're doing. Like I know better. Like, have there been those things like where you do butt heads a little bit?
I would say like rarely, maybe it's like been some things where but not really.
Yeah.
For the most part, he's been pretty supportive of the whole endeavor. When I started to do a lot more of the home insurance and took the foot off the gas pedal of the commercial insurance that he had originally hired me to do, right? And what was successful for him was probably the only time when there was like a serious contemplation about the direction I was going in and like whether or not he was going to be supportive of that. And I think he caught on early on that was something that actually was worthwhile, because he could see the numbers grow. Yeah, and it went from, me writing, like a couple policies a week to being like, okay, this is pretty good, a couple policies a week, to writing like, I don't know, maybe 10 policies a week. And 10 policies a week was beating our monthly records. Like that was more than we'd ever write in a month, right?
And what do you write now?
Now we write 500 to 600 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, and so when I first started in the agency, we would have like a policy count, like spreadsheet, and we'd all kind of get together and see like how many new business policies we wrote in a given time period. And if you go back and look at the ones from like, I guess it would be like 2017 at this time, we would average maybe like 25 to 30 policies a month.
Total.
A month, yeah. And now, so that means we're somewhere from like 300 to 350 policies a year. We beat those numbers handily in 3 weeks. Wow. And that's like, boom, right?
And you guys were not, like your dad and grandfather were very successful in the industry, doing it a very different way.
Right.
So you got to, like, I give them so much credit for always giving you leeway, like room to grow, room to try new things. 100%. Like if you're going to fail your own way, right?
They gave you the reins of their baby. So that takes a lot.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it goes both ways. Like I was given a really good opportunity and definitely don't take that lightly and still don't. I'm the first person in the office most days, but also they like I made sure that I was doing right by them also. Totally. Like I wasn't just like coming up with this idea and then like not seeing it through.
Well, one of I read this. I saw it on like TikTok or something. But it was this guy. He's like the worst people to work with. And I thought of you when I saw this was like the ambitious people who are lazy. Like that is what will not work out. Like those are the worst. Ambitious. I have a bunch of ideas, but no follow through. And you're like the total opposite of that. Like you have all this ambition, you wanted to take it this one direction, and then you fucking put in the work to make it happen.
Totally, man. And honestly, I think we've spent a lot of time talking about like some of the fun, different ideas and stuff that we have, but also like a big thing that I always lean on, especially when talking to other entrepreneurs and other people in the industry, is like, yeah, you could have the greatest idea ever, but like you got to have that execution. And I use myself as an example because like we're an insurance agency. We're doing home insurance. How many places can you buy home insurance from? Like, I don't have a novel idea at all. Like, but what we're doing is trying to do it better than the other people. Like, you know, and we're trying to
Different at least.
Yeah, at least a little different. But
Yeah.
like for the most part, like our product is the same product that you could get 100 different places.
Yep.
Like, I mean, not even for the most part. That literally what we're selling is something that you could get. Like the policy that I sold you for your homeowner's insurance, there are literally 100 other insurance agents that you could have bought that exact same policy from.
And there's 95 of them that do it the exact same way. But you guys do it just a little bit differently.
Right.
And that's all that you need.
Yeah, that's
right?
it. And you just, you know, it's all combination of factors, I guess. But
Would-
yeah, it's good stuff.
For the business owner or for the son, whatever, grandson of the business owner out there that's like getting into business with their family and who's looking to maybe like, damn, we need to step up the social media game or we got to do something different. Do you have any advice for that person? Like, what would you recommend them? Assuming their dad's not just a dick,
Totally.
assuming they have some say in it. Because sometimes you just have no shot.
Yeah.
But
Okay, here's an idea. Involve your parents or grandparents in that first set of videos.
Yeah.
Make them central to that. Make them the person that has the wisdom to share to all of your social media followers.
show them how it's working. Yeah.
Exactly. That's how you're going to do it. Like, and if they're not comfortable to do that, well then, okay, you're going to have to pivot to something else. But that's my first thought is, yeah, if you're going to start doing some social media campaign and you're uncomfortable with the idea of your, you know, parents or grandparents, your business owner, you know, family members that are in the position to tell you whether or not you can do that, involve them in that process and tell them like, this is, you know, this is going to be free for us, you know, like I have an iPhone and
Yeah.
all we need to do is record you on camera, like saying a few things about us, and like we're going to post that. And
I
like
don't think the older generation realizes the impact that solely that decision can make.
Yeah, absolutely. And I, you know, we've been talking about parody videos and whatnot. One of my favorite series, my favorite series of videos that we ever did was my grandfather. We put him on camera and he just talked about how he started the business. He talked about like what his family thought when he was transitioning from working at the post office to going into an entrepreneurial business of insurance. And he talked about one of the most like devastating claims to impact his business as an insurance agency owner. There was a bad fire in Fall River. It was pretty historic. The Notre Dame church caught fire, and a lot of the houses nearby and the tenants who lived there all suffered really bad losses. Thankfully, nobody was badly injured in it, but a lot of people lost everything they had, and he took a lot of pride in being able to know that his clients were covered for their insurance, you know, and that they were able to deliver checks to make those people be able to get back on their feet. And he explained that, you know, and what that meant to him, and like kind of going back and have him told some stories, like that, which were really well received. Like those were things that a lot of people came up to me at an event and were like, that was so cool. Like that video was awesome.
Yeah.
And that's like, maybe that's the best way to do it, right? Like maybe you're going to work for your dad in some business and maybe your dad doesn't want to do it. You're like, what about grandpa or Pepe or, you know,
And don't be scared to ask.
or Nana,
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
whoever, like, can they, you know, like they started this business. I know they're retired now, but like, what if we get them on camera and they talk about how they started this business? Like, you think there's no way they're saying no to that.
Yeah, totally.
No way they're saying no to that. And that's going to be great content.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
You know?
will totally agree with that. I mean, you know, like looping back to the original point, maybe I'm not somebody in their demographic, but maybe I am starting a business or inheriting a business, and I need to learn some of those steps in order to, you know, like understand their story or understand their process. So it's helpful to people that you may not even know you're helping. So
Yeah, 100%. Like, and you can go back and look at those, and it's funny to see the things that, you know, people thought about as important too, like 50, 60 years ago. You know, the way that what was viewed as like a big risk, or what was viewed as like a different challenge. You know, it's really interesting. It gives good perspective, and people really appreciate that kind of level of storytelling. And I mean that's just another aspect of digital marketing that you could do. Storytelling. Right? Yeah. Storytelling. Like that's just that can be a really great way to get people behind your vision. Is to share that story with them. So
yeah, and you don't always have to, like you said, like that one with your grandfather did so well, and it wasn't like shaking your ass on TikTok or doing some stupid parody video. It's like, be authentic. It's like, this is something like, you guys don't have Herman. We got Herman. You know, like show him off. You know,
right?
Yeah, 100%. That's the kind of stuff that's definitely like, it's
So don't be afraid to get those. Like, if you're new in business or taking over that business, don't be scared to ask the parents to be involved. You can still run point and it can still be your thing, but like,
because you know more about it than they do.
Get them involved.
Like they don't know how to record and post a video on social media, but yes, get them involved
and make it easy for them.
And that's going to be the best way to break the ice.
Yep.
And then if you want to, like fucking twerk on TikTok, with, you know, like and sell whatever it is you're selling, like great, like, you know, because they will have bought into the idea of
yes,
you know,
they will get it. They will make them understand.
You'd be like, yep, this is, look, you know, 5,000 people viewed this video. Like, you know, when's the last time you were able to see how many people viewed the fucking placemat that you, you know, that
or
you
the
bought
ad
at
in
the
the
diner,
newspaper,
or the
right,
ad in the
exactly.
newspaper, right?
Exactly.
Like, do you know,
Dad, how many people saw that billboard?
right? How many people do you know?
People on
And
95.
not only that too.
Do you have cameras in their cars? Do you know where their eyes are looking?
Exactly.
But like that's the thing, the whole traditional billboard like mentality is that you're going to see 1,000, maybe 100,000 people, but maybe only 10% of those people are looking for a home insurance. Whereas in the internet, you can specifically target those people, so 100% of those people are interested.
Right.
And I can tell you how long they watched for.
Right, like it's to the exact variable, and you can know how to change those variables and play into the buyer's psychology to get them to want to buy more of you.
100%. I mean, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like there's big companies out there that are doing this every single day, and you know it because you're being sold every single day.
Yep.
You know, like I don't know how many times have you been, you know, I don't know, sitting in your living room, and if you have like a smart device or just a phone with a microphone in it, and you and your girlfriend or you and whoever are talking about, you know, something, right? Pizza, I don't know.
Yep.
And then you pull up your Instagram and you start scrolling, and you have like a DiGiorno's ad staring you in the face. Like, that's how the internet works.
Yeah,
you know,
we got you.
Pizza's the interest, and they were targeting by interest pizza, and that was now served to you as an ad.
Right.
Or, you know, like you're on Amazon on one device browsing for some sort of product, and you didn't buy it, but then the next day that product is showing up in your feed somewhere else.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm going to buy it now.
Absolutely.
Sneaky.
God is speaking to me.
Yeah.
And that's how, you
God's
know,
name
like,
is Zuckerberg.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
For sure.
That's awesome.
The universe is telling me
Exactly.
that I need this zucchini spiralizer right now.
The zucchini spiral. Yeah. That's perfect. So we covered a lot. What are, kind of to wrap up, like one of the things I wanted to know about are there any like current challenges? Like what's next? Like where are you going from here? What's the current roadblock? Like what are we looking to do? Anything that sticks out for you as far as like kind of obstacles you're trying to overcome?
Yeah, so challenges to our business aren't really like in the marketing sense. There's a lot of
which are good. We're doing our job.
That. Yeah, everyone heard that.
Yeah,
There's no challenges in marketing.
Yeah, no, I'm not really concerned about the marketing side. I think just us I think one of the things that we do really well, and specifically Dan in our office, who is like an absolute rock star in handles.
Shout out to Dan, man. Oh my God.
right,
Dan is a fucking key player.
Dan's the best. Honestly, we wouldn't be able to do the level of what we do on our communications and social media without Dan, and he just does a tremendous job with it. But his one of the things that he's really cognizant of and does a really good job with is recognizing the need to continue to push our boundaries onto different platforms and different forms of media as the space develops, right? And we're now, if you follow us on our social media pages, we're doing a lot more of the TikTok style of video, right? Which on
IG
Instagram
Reels.
is the Reels.
Which I love, by the
IG
way.
Reels on
I'm watching that all
Instagram,
the
right?
time.
TikTok, we have a TikTok page now, which we didn't have a year ago. And we're really focusing on those because that is how people are consuming their social media, right? That's
Still video.
The scrolling is now boiled down to that. And when we first started, we talked about the need to make our videos short and to the point, and that, you know, it's okay to have a longer video here or there, and it's kind of feature length things could be fun, still could grab your attention, but like you're gonna get more opportunities to get in front of people if your content's like
Keeping it
short
tight.
and to
Attention span's like 3 seconds. I
yeah,
think.
and so the reels really
ridiculous.
feed into that psychology, and that's where we've done a lot with. And the thing I love about reels and TikTok is that you don't have to have a completely novel idea. Actually, you're literally, it's encouraged and it's popular to completely copy what somebody else
Yeah.
did.
And it might make you do better, actually, believe it or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it really is. It's encouraged to take somebody else's idea and mimic it and spin it a little bit, but like essentially do the same thing that they were doing. And that's like, it actually like amazes me, because to me, it's not super interesting to see like 100 of the same video that like 100 different people are doing. But the way that it works when you're actually going through social media is that you're not seeing the same thing 100 times.
You're seeing 15 different things that have been replayed 100 times over. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, restart 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Exactly. And you're
you
like,
don't
oh, it's
realize
funny that this guy did it this way. Like, oh my
Yep.
gosh, look at this one. Like, you know, and then that trend, right, is becomes popular. But that's what I love about those types of videos, is that we really like the ideas are already out there, like,
Huge
you know,
opportunity.
and we're not trying to be the one that captures the idea. We're just trying to like be the one that takes an idea and be the first insurance agent to do it, because it's going to be really funny to watch an insurance agent do something like this.
And
Yeah.
locally,
Whatever.
dude, everybody loves to see like their local referral partners
Yeah,
or people
they're
they
near-
know on screen. And
Right,
it's great.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
the
like that.
discovery section is now like, dude, I saw you on TV. It's like, oh, I saw you in my discovery section. It's like, oh
right.
shit, that's sick.
Yeah. So that's one thing. Yeah, like that I think can be a challenge, but we've done a pretty good job of adapting to. But it does. I think it will continue to be a challenge that we need to meet. Is that changing? You know, and you can see it, and it's going to continue that. I think the Facebook platform is changing in a lot of ways. There's, you know, it's still the same kind of stuff, but it is a little bit different. And, you know, like when I first got into this 5 years ago, it was a lot easier to get a lot of attention on Facebook.
Yep.
Whereas now, Instagram and TikTok is a space where you can get a lot of attention, and you can really start to grow your follower base on one of those platforms still.
Yep.
Whereas Facebook, it's maybe not as much, you know, but it's,
Yeah, just taking up on new opportunities
Yeah.
and kind of just,
Following the trends.
yeah.
there's going to be something else that's
be
going to come
malleable.
out soon too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess a challenge that's coming to us, really like the only challenge that I think insurance companies right now are dealing with, is really the fact that everything's increasing. That's probably one area where insurance agents are having a challenge, is because, everything is costing more.
Yeah,
right?
lumber
You know?
prices are up a bazillion
Right,
percent.
you
so
go to the gas pump, everything's more
labor,
expensive, right?
yeah.
So all the costs that insurance companies have gone up, and now they're catching up, and they're putting those costs back onto the consumer. So we field a lot of calls like these days about people saying their premium went up like $300 or something, and you don't really have a good solution for them, because everybody's premium went up $300. So
Yeah.
you're really just doing damage control and trying to do your best to explain the external factors that are causing their home insurance to go up, and for the most part, people understand that.
yeah. and hope that's relatively short term.
Yeah, right. It's not gonna every year. It's not gonna go up 12%.
Hopefully it goes down.
it's a rarity,
I don't know if it ever
right.
goes. Do insurance premiums ever go down?
No.
Yeah, they hit
No,
that,
they're not gonna. Yeah, they're not gonna go back down. But then again, like they'll level off though.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
it's like
for sure.
it's not like mortgage rates where it goes up and down. Like the cost. Well, because like, do we think the costs of like our contractors gonna lower their costs ever?
Nope.
Right. Like what contractor do you know right now?
You just paid me
that's
60.
charging
Why
this
would I
much?
charge 50?
Yeah.
Right? Am I
exactly.
really going to turn around and only charge this much now? Like,
Yep.
probably not.
Probably
It's
not.
going to take a whole lot for that to happen, right?
Yeah.
So then, why would insurance go? Like their costs are going to stay the same,
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so that's it's probably here for good.
Long term, as market fluctuation aside, where do you see Lapointe Insurance Agency in 15, 30 years? Like, what do you want? Do you want little Johnny? Little Johnny to be shaking his ass on TikTok, slinging insurance. Like, what do you want from the agency? What do you want from life? Like, what do you see next?
Yeah, totally.
Long-term.
So long term, I wouldn't never say that I have like a specific goal in mind of like where I want our business to be necessarily, but I do think that what we can do is really position ourselves to be like a really, really well-known household name for the home insurance space in New England. I think, in like 15 years where I'd love to see us, like, I would love to think that, we are at the top of, a short list of places that are going to get referred whenever somebody is going to buy a house. Like that's kind of like becomes synonymous with it in some way. I want to see the new people that we bring on grow to be in a position where I'm at right now. I want to be in a position where maybe not as super hands-on with like the actual sales piece of things, which is just, I think, natural. I don't want to, don't get me wrong, like I love what I do, but I also don't want to be like grinding it out the way I do right now forever. Yeah, it's just not, it's not a long-term thing that I think anybody should like put themselves through either. It's
Part of building a business.
Right,
That's the difference
definitely.
between being a business owner and,
And being a leader.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, where we're at right now, there's the industry, like the insurance industry has like certain categories for like sizes of agencies. And a couple years ago, my dad said, like, wouldn't it be cool if in 10 years we could be part of this like mid-size agency group? And the mid-size agency group is full of a bunch of companies that have grown to that size through either developing a really strong program of sales for businesses. So they're selling, they found a niche and they're selling business insurance policies to bigger businesses that are like, 200, 300, $1 million a year premiums, like for a policy for a business. There's businesses out there that pay $1 million a year for their insurance. Like they're big businesses, but there's agencies that sell those policies, and that's how they've grown, right? And that's a lot of them in this mid-size category. And the other ones are ones that have grown to that size through acquisitions.
mergers, yeah.
Right. So mergers and acquisitions. So they're not actually like, selling a lot of policies, but what they are is they're really savvy business people. They have good systems and operations, and they know how to absorb another insurance agency, bring them into the fold, and grow that way. But we have a chance to do that by nickel and diming our way there through home and car insurance policies, which we think would be really cool if we busted into that category of agencies by doing something totally different, by literally, like nips and cuts of small policies one by one
And
to like a massive level.
You'd have an insane advantage too, because you don't care. Like if one policy drops for that $1 million agency,
100%.
That's a big chunk of their revenue,
Right.
and they can't sleep really well at night. For you,
Yeah, they're going to
You're
be
golden.
the next day. They're going to be like, "Oh no, what do I do?" Right?
Yeah.
Like for us, the risk is, that like slowly over time we are getting, deteriorated by another company. But if we continue to grow in the way that we are, we really don't have to worry about that. We're just it's not a real concern for us as the lost clients. I mean, don't get me wrong, like lost clients is a concern. I want to definitely retain as many clients as possible. I want every client to be happy with us, and feel like we're still delivering on our promise, but
You don't have
if
to
there's right, like I don't have to sweat it if this client turns out to be a jerk one day, and
Right.
I just don't want to work with them anymore.
Yeah, it sounds like we're very similar in the fact that like because I asked you that question because I was interested in hearing like, do you have this goal? Because people ask me that a lot, and I really don't know exactly where I want to be, but I do know the day-to-day tact. I want to be consistent. It's what I've done for the past 5 years. The same plays that I know are right, do the same things, and we'll see where the chips fall.
Right.
You know, if I keep doing the day-to-day stuff, I know I'll be in the right position, and you know, we can set goals along the way, but it's I don't want to be, you know, whatever this, I don't want to look like this in 30 years. It's just I want to do the right stuff until then, and I'll be happy with wherever I am.
Yeah, definitely. Because I don't think it's reasonable to set certain having measurable goals is important, but like it's hard to pick a goal like what we're trying to get at, right? Like I want to be the #1 insurance agent for like this. Like, okay, like I could come up with that if I spend a long enough time thinking about it. Like I could say like, yeah, I want to be like the #1 insurance agency by market share in like New England or something like that. Like, okay, but
Then what?
that, and also that's not really like, I don't know if that's really what I want to do.
Well, think about all the opportunities that you missed because you were so dead set on being #1. Where like, okay, maybe the chips could have fallen in other places that would have been more beneficial.
Yeah, you're
for
not
what I needed.
You're not beholden to shareholders, so use that as your advantage. You don't have to do things like that.
Right.
So why
Like I want to
worry
be
about
the best Lapointe insurance that we can possibly be.
Yep.
You know, I want to continue to grow as fast as we possibly can. You know, I want to continue to bring on quality people and see them grow as best they possibly can.
Yeah,
But like, yeah, to like set a, you know, we want to get to this point per se, because I don't think a lot of the best, I don't know, like other athletes out there that, you know, am I like totally missing the point here?
No, you're
Right?
spot
What do
on.
you think
Yeah.
about like, I don't know, like a Kobe Bryant or
Yeah.
like a Michael Jordan or something? Like, did Michael Jordan say like, I want to win like 12 championships? I don't think so. I don't know.
I think he probably just woke up every day and was like, I'm going to be better than everyone else today.
Right.
You know,
I
it's like
think
maybe
so.
he wants to be the best of all time. That's great. But it's like, you
Sure.
don't just sit on your couch and think about being the best
What
of
are
all
the steps
time.
of the
That doesn't-
staircase
yeah.
to get there? Yeah.
Cool.
Totally.
Yeah, I want to be the best insurance agent of all time.
Bang.
Take
I love it. Yeah, in the same boat. Justin,
Good
do you,
stuff.
do you have any more questions or anything else that you wanted to go over?
No, John. I think that pretty much wraps us up. You know, I think it's pretty apparent that you're doing great things for the insurance world and that you're grinding away. And like we said, you're sending the elevator back down for the people that you really think that deserve it. And you know, you're looking out for everybody else in your industry. So we definitely appreciate it. We definitely appreciate your time and everything that you're doing for your industry. So
Thanks, man.
if people are wondering how they can get in contact with you or if they can how they can learn more about you, where
Yeah,
do you think we
anything you
can
want to
send them?
plug? Anything you want to plug?
Well, yeah, if you want to get a hold of us, just honestly, Google us.
The point.
Google Lapointe Insurance. It's fun to say that because I know that we could do that. But yeah, Google us, and you'll find us, and we can help you out with whatever you need.
There you go.
Hopefully. Yeah, and thank you guys. Really, really appreciate having me on the podcast. But I guess, the plug I'd give is to Namra, because Namra has been, a huge part of our success. And I think just matches our energy on things, which makes what we do a lot of fun, because there's, they're just similar to what I was saying about insurance. Like, there's 101 places that you can buy your insurance from. Like, there are maybe even more than that people who are making them out to be making themselves out to be marketing experts in the space. And I'm sure a lot of them do a great job and they know what they're doing. But like, I've found that you guys are a great mix of, what you're talking about, and you're able to deliver, a good product for us. And at the same time, like, we always have fun doing it too. And I think you can kind of, match our vision and the energy that we're trying to bring to the table, which makes everything just that much more enjoyable. Because, I know that when we're excited and anticipating some release of a fun video that we did, like, you guys are equally as excited and enjoying the fact that that video is going out too. It's not like you're just doing this because, like, sure, yes, you're being paid to do it, but also, like, you're genuinely like,
Fuck
excited about the product that's going to be put out there and like the concept or whatever. So
Dude, that's the best compliment we can get. Thank you, man.
Much appreciated.
And
Thank
thank
you,
you,
guys.
thank you for the support, and happy to be a small piece of all the great things that you guys are up to at Lapointe Insurance,
Appreciate
man.
you, man.
All right.
appreciate you guys.
Thank you, buddy.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Until next time. Thanks, guys.
See you.